Hello and welcome back to the Football Chat Podcast. Today is episode 124. We're going to be discussing Bournemouth continuing our series of rebuilding all the Premier League sides or just upgrading them for the new season. So we always start these by looking back at last campaign. It's very successful by Bournemouth standards, no?
I mean, yeah, especially the way they start the season with Scott Parker. I thought they were going to get relegated about 3 points.
I thought they'd break Derby's point record, but they recovered it well.
Yeah, they did. They sacked Scott Parker, which looked to be a great decision. Now we look back on it. Brought in Gary. We didn't bring in Gary O'Neill. He took over as the caretaker. He did a good enough job. They went, "Go on, mate, have the permanent job." Yeah. And
what he executed so well was he just simplified it. He simplified their game so much more. They did the basics right. They maintained a solid structure, very compact in defence, but also started scoring more, mainly thanks to their January recruitment. They brought in Daniel Ouattara, who I still think is a really, really good player. And ultimately, just the way they've started to play the second half of the season as well, that propelled them into a very comfy sort of 14th position.
They did exactly what is needed of a side that are threatening relegation. Defend well, don't ship loads of goals. Score when you can, and pick up points when you should.
Especially, and I know this may sound harsh, but especially when your side is not one that possesses Premier League players. Yeah. Like, let's be honest, that squad, a majority of it is very good for the Championship, but there's not many Premier League quality players in there.
And but I think the big thing is, well, not only did they pick up points where they should have, they took points off the big teams. They took points off Chelsea. They took points off Tottenham.
They took a pounding from Liverpool, but
they did. That was Scott Parker. They picked up points where they needed to.
Yeah, they've done well this season, Bournemouth. I was very impressed by them because I'll be honest, I think with most people we predict them bottom of the league. Yeah. But can't imagine off at anyone else. Maybe Southampton, but yeah, Bournemouth. I think they've outperformed a lot of people's expectations. I do think they need to be wary though and not underestimate the immense challenge this next season is going to be. Because while they've stayed up for 1 year. Just down for a second, it's going to take a lot more. We know this Bournemouth side needs a big upgrade, but they've also got some big players leaving this summer and next. So there's a lot to go through with Bournemouth, and I think we'll start then with the contracts expiring. Mm-hmm. Of course, the biggest one is Jefferson Lerma. He has already left to join Crystal Palace on a free upon the expiration of his contract, and I think they've lost arguably their best player or second best player behind Philip Billing. So they've already lost Lerma. They're going to lose Junior Stanislas. But he's still a great figure in the dressing room. He's a player that's been there years, a player with loads of experience. And also Matthias Viña, who's been on loan from Roma. Won't be missed too much. He wasn't particularly impressive. But
I thought he was quite good, actually.
He's fine.
I saw he played loads of games.
He played like 12, I want to say. He came in January, right?
All I remember is he scored against Tottenham.
Oh yeah, a great season, cracking year.
And that's all I remember. But I didn't think he was too. How many games did he play?
He played. That's in the Serie A. 12 points in the Premier League. 5 starts, 2 goals.
Only 5 starts, 2 goals. That's not too bad.
It's not horrendous.
But 12 games,
a good attacking left back. But I think there's better out there. And he's probably going to be expensive. He's coming from Roma. It's not going to be a great deal. I wouldn't say. I would not sign him back on a permanent. No. But Lerma, big miss.
And for free as well, because even if you lost him, you could have recouped some money off him.
You could have easily got 20 mil, I think. Easily could have got 20 mil.
Yeah, I mean, Stanislas going, as you said, they'll miss a big figure. Viña, not too bothered. But it's the year after that.
Well, I was going to say.
Which could cause them a big issue.
So in 2024, Philip Billing's contract expires, Lloyd Kelly's contract expires, Ryan Christie contract expires. They've got some big issues there. But not only that, but they're also losing Ben Pearson, Ryan Fredericks, Adam Smith, Darren Randolph. While those guys may not be starters and key players like the first 3 mentioned, they are still squad players, they are still good players, and it's going to be a bit of an exodus at the Vitality Stadium. They're losing a lot of players. They've got a year to fix it though. Smith and Randolph won't be missed. Pearson, Adam Smith started a lot of games this season for Bournemouth. A lot of games. Fairly sure.
He better not have. If not, they're going down
well,
next year.
their only other right back's Ryan Fredericks. And he was also not stunning.
Surely someone else played right back for him.
Adam Smith made 37 appearances in the Premier League.
That's
what I'm saying. He's a crucial part of this Bournemouth team. I think they need a right back, probably.
Well, yes. Mate, I think 37 games.
Fair play to him. Because he's not young, Adam Smith. 32.
He's rubbish.
He got 37 appearances this year. 34 of those were starts.
Wow.
It's impressive. Solid,
Wow.
almost clocked up 3,000 minutes. They're only 52 minutes away from that 3,000 minute mark.
That is mental.
Why is that mental?
Because he's not good enough.
But, well, this is the thing, though. I don't think any of Bournemouth's players on paper are really good enough for the Premier League. Maybe bar Lerma, Solanke, Christie, you could argue.
Billing.
Oh, and Billing, obviously, yeah. Other than that, though, and I would say Dango Ouattara as well, because I think he's a really good player. But other than that, they're not really Premier League quality, yet they've done really well. You could make a claim for now. But overall, their squad is not Premier League quality. Plus, Adam Smith starting the Prem in big old 2023. Yeah, so he's played a lot. He's played a big role, but as I think the biggest miss is Philip Billing. You've either got to sell him this summer, because you can't risk what happened with Lerma. So you've either got to sell him or renew him on
the worry for Bournemouth
and
is
same for Kelly, same for Chris.
How can they convince Billing, Kelly and Christie to re-sign?
Money.
Do Bournemouth have money?
Well, if you take the contribution you were giving to Jefferson Lerma and split it 3 ways and add to all their wages.
You've got to recruit as well, you've got to be careful.
You have, of course, but Bournemouth will have more money. They'd have got money for playing in the Prem. They're going to get TV money. We know the TV rights money in the Premier League is sensational.
As much as money works, though, I think, but maybe more in Billing's case, he should be looking at the opportunity to play for a better Premier League side.
Yeah. And I think that's obviously what Lerma's doing. I think Kelly and Christie will be more than happy with a small wage rise and a promise of future playing time, consistent playing time in the Premier League. Philip Billing, for me, he's so crucial. You just give him whatever he wants, really.
Yeah.
You just give him a really good wage. And I think you should then be able to convince him to keep playing. I think the thing for Billing is either he keeps Bournemouth up next year and then he continues to play Prem, or so if he signs to do that, he continues and he continues to play Prem, or they go down and he leaves in a year anyway. So I think it's a real win-win because he can up his money for this season, which he's going to have to play regardless, or he's going to leave now or in a year's time. But either way, Bournemouth aren't going to lose him for free. I don't think
they
won't make the same mistake.
Christie.
Sign them to new contracts.
Yeah.
I think if you bring in another right back, then you can let one of Ryan Fredericks or Adam Smith leave.
I was going to say Pearson and Fredericks are easily replaceable. Adam Smith, how has he played 37 games? I don't know, but I guess re-sign him. Dan Randolph, don't worry about him.
Probably not. But or you keep him as a backup. He's a fine backup goalkeeper, isn't he?
Yeah.
And even then, he's a third choice because there's Travers and Neto ahead of him in the pecking order. But still could do a job if desperate times call for desperate measures. On to the squad keep or sell then. So there's a lot of players that obviously we've got to consider in terms of their contract situations. We'll start with the man on top of the list, and that is Mark Travers.
I think he's a good backup, but it's whether he seek a starting role in the Championship side.
Yeah, I think maybe if you can get 5-10 mil, you consider it because he doesn't start.
And you've got Randolph, you've got Dennis.
You've got, definitely options there. I would say Travers is a keep unless you find it. A good bid, though, you let him go. So, but you're not going to look to force the issue. Darren Randolph, for me, is also a keep. I think he fulfills the quota as well.
Let him run down his contract.
Might as well,
He's not bothered about moving elsewhere. He's happy to sit on the bench with Bournemouth, and you won't fetch much of a price for him, and who really wants to buy him?
And then Neto, hand him the stadium, because he is such a good goalkeeper. He should not be playing for Bournemouth.
Yeah,
like honestly. He's a goalkeeper above that level. So
when he moved
credit to him.
Bournemouth, I was so surprised.
He's done well. Yeah,
but I guess he saw the Premier League move, and it made sense because, as I said, he had a brilliant season.
Started every match pretty much since he joined the club. I think he'll be crucial for them going into next season. We've seen how useful, reliable pair of hands can be, and I think he will be crucial if they're to stay up next year. And then just some youngsters. Will Dennis can stay around. Cameron Plain. I mean, not the most exciting surname, but he can stick about anyway. On to defenders then. Ryan Fredericks.
I think you should let him run down his contract and replace him over the next 2 years.
Maybe sell him if you can.
Yeah, an offer comes.
If you get a mil from a Championship club, then you might as well take that.
Yeah.
Because you cut his wages, and if you can bring in another right back to start, keep Smith as backup, I think you're fine there for the right hand side of the defence. Lloyd Kelly.
Get him on a new contract.
Yeah.
You have to keep him and get him on a new contract. Pivotal.
My only thing would be if you can get 5-10 mil from a West Ham or Crystal Palace, do you take that? Because there's a chance
he'll get more.
Potentially get 15. Potentially, I don't know where he'd be valued at in the modern market, but
I think
a good player, a versatile
player. If you can fetch a good price.
Only 24 as well, to be fair. Only 23 appearances in the league last year. The thing for Kelly is he doesn't start in the partnership, the two in defence, because that is Senesi and usually Zabarnyi. But they've also got Stevens and Metham to rotate in there. So he doesn't really start in the centre of defence. Tends to play left back. If they go and sign a left back, Bournemouth, which presumably they will this summer because they're losing Matthias Viña, there's a chance that Kelly is a little surplus to requirements. I mean, obviously he could start left centre half. He could play as a rotation option in a lot of roles.
Yeah.
But I think if you can get a good price for him, you take that. 100% you take that. So,
good point.
But especially with a year left on his deal, so you're probably not going to get too high an offer. But it saves you the problem of having to either renew or losing for nothing in a year. You can probably get a centre back around that same sort of quality for a cheaper price, I would say. There's going to be options out there.
Yeah.
And if not permanent, then maybe a loan for a year. But yeah, Kelly for me is a keep, but you do just see whether there's offers out there for him.
Yeah.
I think he's a good player. He's been loyal to Bournemouth.
Test the water.
But yeah, see if there's any interest there, because I think he's expendable, which sounds harsh, but I don't know. I don't think he's all that brilliant. Chris Metham.
I think keep. I think he's a good rotation.
Didn't really play much this year, did he? But yeah, as you say, a good rotation option. To be fair, 26 appearances is not a bad run. But yeah, a fine centre half will be good in rotation. Adam Smith.
Keep around, veteran, legend, team leader. For some reason, he played 37 games.
He's played a lot of football this year.
Maybe you can find a better player.
Is he the captain?
Probably.
You'd imagine he's either captain or vice. I'll have a look who's the captain their last game of the season. Against Everton, it was Adam Smith. Yeah. So that makes sense. Then he plays a lot of football. I think he's sort of crucial to that team. But you do need to start phasing him out over the next year because he's not getting any younger. Jack Stacey has already left. He'll be joining Norwich on the expiration of his contract this summer. That's a good bit of business for Norwich. Yeah. But Bournemouth don't need him. That's just off the wage bill, and he's actually going to get to play some minutes for Norwich. Potentially implies that Max Aarons is leaving as well.
Maybe.
Stacey could get starting minutes then. Matthias Viña, I would not bring back from the loan. I don't think it was anything that impressive. James Hill is a young centre-half, 21 years old. Don't think he played in the Prem last year, did he? Not an appearance in the Premier League. I don't know if he's out on loan.
He's going to be great.
Yeah, so confident about that.
I don't know who he is.
He was... No, he's been at Bournemouth. He was at Hearts on loan until May. Played 17 appearances.
Blimey, okay.
What?
Hearts.
He made the jump from Fleetwood, though, in League One to Bournemouth.
I think Fleetwood are better than Hearts.
Played 4 championship games from January 2022 to January 2023, and then they let him go out on loan to Hearts, so he played 17 games.
Yeah, I don't think his career's going great.
6.55 average rating.
Fleetwood, 4 appearances for Bournemouth and Hearts.
Well, he's only 21, to be fair. It's just a loan move.
Give him time. I don't know.
But he's keep him around, sure. Yeah. Marcos Senesi.
He was brilliant. Keep him.
Keep at all costs. Ilya Zabarnyi.
Again, what a player this could be. Be aware, because obviously offers could come in. I think for the right price,
there's a deal to be made.
If you get a high offer, then I think you think that's selling. But if you don't get a very convincing offer, then keep him at all costs.
I think if the only problem could be if someone more attractive to Zabarnyi decides to make an offer, then you could just be screwed and not have an option but to sell.
Or you just keep him against his will.
God, that's horrendous. But yeah, a good pickup in the January window. I think he's a really good player and could be crucial for Bournemouth for years to come.
He could.
Jordan Zamura.
He was quite good, I thought.
Well, yeah, he stopped playing in March with no explanation. I don't know if he was injured, but when I was doing some investigation, he just sort of played until March and then didn't play.
He just fell off a cliff.
But there's no sort of indication he was injured. He played 64 minutes against Arsenal and just came off in that game, and that was it for Ryan Fredericks. He never played again.
Zamura?
Yeah. From the 4th of March, just hasn't played again. But before that, 5 appearances in February, regular in January.
Any Bournemouth fans out there? Let us know what happened to Jordan Zamura.
But he's not even on the bench. I don't know whether he got injured or whether there was some sort of indiscretions or something, but fell off a cliff. 19 appearances in the Prem this season. You could keep him around. I don't really know what happened there.
He's alive.
Yeah. Best wishes to Jordan Zamura. Unless he's done something better. Probably should just Google in case he's murdered someone. I don't think he
right.
has. But what's he been up to then? Jordan Zamora.
Maybe I know he's like running across Egypt. What's he doing now?
Oh, he's joined Udinese
Oh.
in July. Fair enough.
So he just hasn't played since?
He decided to leave on the expiration of his contract, and so Gary O'Neill, I guess, just said, well, you're not playing then.
Yeah. Alright. Oh, don't
Fair enough, yeah. He's left.
Right.
On the midfielders, Lewis Cook.
Fine rotation for me.
Yeah, I think he's fine. He started a lot of minutes. Played a lot of minutes this season in that defensive midfield role, and that double pivot. For me, you definitely go and get another player. I think you get 2 DMs this summer. We know Lerma's leaving as well. So I don't think Lewis Cook should start next year. If you can get 2 DMs or even a youngster who can rotate frequently with Cook would be a good option. Especially since Joe Rothwell played a fair few matches this season. So I would be concerned. But yeah. David Brooks.
I mean, great to see him back.
Yeah, excellent to see him
after
back.
his treatment. And, I mean, he's a very, very good player.
I would have fears he won't be able to get up to speed. I'm hoping he gets a lot of minutes in pre-season, can sort of
that'll come down to how he does in pre-season, but he was a very good player, and I think there's still a very good player there. If you can get him back up to racing speed, then I think he could be quite good next season.
Yeah, fair enough. Jefferson Lerma obviously leaving the club. Ryan Christie.
Got to get him on a new contract.
Yep,
100%. He's really good this year.
You can't make the same mistakes that you did with Lerma. Christie, new contract. Kelly, new contract. Billing, new contract, as we've said. Emiliano Marcondes.
Swear he's at Brentford.
I think he was, but he's moved here. 1 appearance this season.
Did he get on loan?
I'm going to guess he's gone out on loan. Sell.
Yeah.
He's not going to be all that.
He's a championship player.
He's not even on the list of players on FootMob, so he must have left.
Already. Yeah.
Might have left on a free.
Good
or
old.
something like that.
Gone to
Let's have a look.
China.
He's been out on loan at Norchland, but he does come back to Bournemouth in July.
Sell him. He's having Norchland, sell him.
He
I see
made
championship colleague.
4 appearances, he got a goal.
Sell him.
That's it.
Sell him.
Yeah, probably. He's not going to start for Bournemouth, is he? He can leave. Joe Rothwell.
I think he's just a nice bloke to keep around.
He made 20 appearances in the Premier League.
Just rotate him.
They won 7 of them, so almost half of his games were wins. It's 12 were losses though, so you can make the same argument. More than half his games were losses.
He doesn't like drawing.
Yeah, no, he's very decisive. If they're losing, he batters on his own.
They're 3-0 he scores a screamer.
Yeah. Marcus Tavernier.
He was really good.
I don't know how you pronounce it. Tavernier, right?
Tavernier.
Tavernier, okay.
I think so.
Yeah, had a really good season. I think he had a few injuries, which halted his progress, but when he was fit, he was arguably Bournemouth's best player, I would say, other than Danko Ouattara. So for me, he's a must keep around and play more next season. Out on that right wing, he looked really impressive. Notched up how many goals and assists this season? 23 appearances, 5 goals in 4 assists in his first Premier League season.
Not bad.
That is a sensational.
For a relegation.
Sensational statistics, but yeah. We can keep that up next year, he'll be a crucial player.
Yeah.
Julius Stanislas, of course, leaving. Sariki Dembele, obviously formerly of Peterborough, made 6 appearances for the Bournemouth first team this season. I don't think he is out on loan. I think he's just not done anything.
That's just a good rotation player, I guess.
I know he has been out on loan at Auxerre for the second half of the season.
What's he done?
12 games, hasn't scored or assisted, 6.34 average FootMob rating. Did alright in 45 minutes against Lens at the end of the season, but they lost 3-1 in that game.
I'd sell him then.
Probably let him leave, yeah. Not a great
wonderful return.
Hamid Traore. He looked good,
yeah.
He looked decent, I think, for whenever he played. I don't really... But 7 appearances this year for Bournemouth. I don't know where did he go out on loan after that? Did Bournemouth just have loads of footballers that they played the first half of the season, then just loaned out? I was on loan at Bournemouth, he's going back to Sassuolo.
Okay.
So he's gone.
He didn't score a goal.
No. Ben Pearson's leaving next season, keep him for a year.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about renewing his contract.
I don't know, and maybe he's good at karaoke. And then Philip Billing, I would say give him the keys to the stadium, give him the owner's car parking spot.
The ground with his wife.
Give him give him a statue, just keep him at all costs.
Give his whole family for generations the whole of the Vitality Court.
Yeah, if they want it. I don't know if they would, but they can have it.
Just sit there. While Arsenal fans just go duh, 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 duh.
Nice little backing music. Yeah. On to the forwards then. Dominic Solanke.
Keep. This is a massive keep. You cannot afford to lose it.
I mean, no, it seems like a bit of a selfish reason, but I need an FPL differential, and this man was key for me this season.
I think I get a picture of him near at one point.
We were, because he was so good for me.
We didn't do that, thank God.
How did he get on this season? Well, he played 33 games, 6 goals, 7 assists.
That's good, you know.
Techie baller.
Maybe he's actually more goals and assists.
13 contributions for a side that should have been.
He's got 7 assists and 6 goals.
Should have been probably fighting relegation harder than they were.
All their goals came through the next man, Dangi Ouattara.
Yep, Dangi Ouattara from the Burkina Faso. What a player! What a season he's had. Joined in January, of course. 19 appearances. He's played every single game.
Yeah.
By that metric, 1 goal, 3 assists. Just a really magical player, really exciting player.
And his numbers might not show because he's 4 goal contributions in 19. A, that isn't too bad anyway.
I was going to say, yeah.
But B,
over a season, that's
very talented.
You're looking at 8 goal contributions, especially now with 6 months of Prem football under his belt. He'll only go up from here. For me, he's a nailed-on start.
That game against Tottenham he's shot.
Yeah, Jamal Lowe. What's he been up to this year?
Huddersfield? Reading?
Doesn't even appear on football when you search for him. He's just vanished.
Oh.
Yeah, no. Doesn't exist.
Okay.
Fair enough. Excellent. Where's he been this year? Oh, he's at a QPR.
Oh.
That's nice. I'd probably sell him. 2 appearances in the first half of the season.
Yeah.
Then went out on a loan like every other Bournemouth player apparently this season.
They got a couple of games. They're not good enough and they should let you out.
Yeah, I presume he will not... He'll not stay, really.
Yeah.
If he does, he'll get another loan or something like that. Kiefer Moore.
Fine backup.
Yeah. Kiefer Moore, more like Keeper Moore. Keep him inside. I don't think he's anything special, but he does just add another dynamic when he plays. And I think possibly you bring in a second choice striker and make him third choice, but he'll still do a job on his day. So more than fine to keep him around. Antoine Semenyo. Semenyo. He's been playing. He's alright. Did he join in January? I want to say 11 appearances, a goal, no assists.
Not bad.
He's a player that comes off the bench. Impact player, mate.
Is he on a loan or a permanent?
I believe he's on a permanent. Yeah, he joined from Bristol City. Oh no, I don't know. There's loads of loans here. He joined from Bristol City in January 2023. Came to Bournemouth in the Premier League. Played 11 times. Won only 2 starts, to be fair.
Keep him.
Got a goal.
Keep him.
He's not stunning, but he's fine. Could be a 4th choice striker for them next season if they can bring in another one. And then Jayden Anthony was fine, I think. 30 appearances, 2 goals, an assist. It's not perfect.
No.
If you can bring another winger, which I think they're looking to do, then sell him, but he's not a priority to leave.
But he was quite good in the Carroll Cup against Norwich.
And then there's some random children.
Yeah.
So yeah. There we go. There's the keeper sale. We're going to cut a lot of the squad then. But I think there's definitely some players that can be brought in to improve. Now, when I was researching players, I tended to look for some bargains, some players that maybe wouldn't be the names you throw out there, and I'm sure we'll throw out some names that you're more familiar with.
Ouattara, Semenyo, no one heard of them before they joined Bournemouth.
Yeah, well, Semenyo was at Bristol City, so a lot of English football fans would have.
No one heard of.
Ouattara, yeah. Same really for Marcus Senesi. I mean, I've heard of him, but not really seen him much before this year. But yeah, I think they've got to go and get those bargains. I think they've got to go and get players that maybe go under the radar. And yeah, in terms of positions which they need to address, I would say left back is one. I didn't put right back, but that is probably one as well. If we can come up with brainstorm some right back ideas on the show. A DM, a starting DM to replace Lerma and potentially another one to replace Lewis Cook. Some depth out wide, and I would say a rotation striker as well. So a lot to address for Bournemouth. We'll start at left back then, because I've gone for Neto Borges. Have you heard of him?
No.
Well, he's a Brazilian, currently plying his trade in the Ligue 1 for Clermont Foot. I looked at his FB ref, and his numbers were quite decent. A really good attacking left back. Hasn't been too bad for Clermont Foot, a side that have massively outperformed expectations this season. If we have a look at their season this year, they finished 8th in the Ligue 1. I would expect them to get relegated.
Yeah.
So clearly a really good season. He was a big part of that defence. He contributed 33 matches, 3 goals, 1 assist, 7.28 average rating. I think overall had a really good year, and I would price him around that £4 million mark, which I think is a bargain for.
That is such a Bournemouth signing.
Exactly. See, look at this. Bournemouth, sign me up. 26 years old, a perfect fit for that left-back role. Brazilian as well, so he brings a bit of samba flair. Only joined Clermont-Foot last June on a free transfer from Ghent. So, clearly a player that was flying under the radar anyway. Clermont-Foot, good bit of recruitment to bring him in.
I mean, yeah, they get 4 or 5 million for him, maybe even a little bit more. They'll turn a profit.
I'm sure they'll be buzzing. Obviously, they beat... Clermont-Foot beat PSG in the last game of the season. And he dropped a 7.1 rating in that game, so clearly sensational. But yeah, so as I was looking around, I saw his profile and I thought, clearly just a bargain. You've got to be smart with this. He's a good player, someone who can definitely make a difference. And I think that on that left-hand side, that Ouattara and Borges link up, because he can fly forwards, he's going to be a lot more attacking with his intent. Adam Smith, you can always form a situational back three. I know that might be a bit complicated for Bournemouth, but Smith can be that more defensive player. And then if you do have Lloyd Kelly as left centre half, who can slot in left back, you do just create sort of a situational back three. Potentially have a DM that could drop in to allow Borges to fly forward. Something like that could work. Overall, though, I'd want him to be attacking. I think his attacking numbers are clearly really good. A good presence on that in that left back role, and a really cheap price at around £4 million. Yeah, that would be a good option. Starting DM then as a Lerma replacement. I've identified a couple here. The first of which is my roguish shout of the three. Cesare Casadei on loan. Not rogue as in, no people will know him, but rogue as in it would be a bit of a gamble. Chelsea are apparently looking at either a Serie A or Premier League loan. They want him in a top division next season. Do you think he'd fit in at Bournemouth? Do you think this is the right sort of environment for him?
I don't know. It's an interesting one. Thing is though, Chelsea want him to go on a Premier League loan. A club like Bournemouth is probably the right club because they're not likely to get relegated bottom of the league.
Well, that is a fear, isn't it?
I don't know. I think that would be a huge gamble for Bournemouth. Makes sense for Chelsea and Casadei because he's getting game time and he can prove himself.
I definitely wouldn't make him the only DM you sign.
No.
Because while he can play that role, he is better in a more advanced role. Yeah. So potentially you look at some other options. I have noted some other options though. Alexis Blin was my favourite from Lecce, put in some really interesting numbers. His FBref profile intrigued me because I looked at Lerma and then looked at the players that were similar to him, and he was the name that stood out to me because he plays for Lecce. And I was like, well, that's a club that you could realistically pry someone away from with the allure of the Premier League. He's had a decent season. I don't know off the top of my head how Lecce got on in the league. They finished 16th, so they avoided relegation. That's quite the achievement for them. And a good DM who put in a decent amount of appearances this season. 35 appearances, only one goal to his name, but he's a defensive midfielder.
Yeah,
his rating is low, but DMs tend to get underrated on FootMob ratings. Overall, he's a bit of a tackle interception monster. But yeah, he makes a lot of tackles, gets a lot of interceptions. He's a really good player, decent in the air as well. I think he just gives you a bit of steel in midfield, and I think for around £5 million, again, it's a bargain. A French 26-year-old who has good Serie A experience, I think can come into the Premier League and do a job. He's a very similar profile to Lerma.
Yeah. And
another one who is a player who you guys may be more familiar with. I'm sure you will remember him. It's the Tunisian Elias Skiheri. He was sensational at the World Cup, basically, as Tunisia picked up 4 points, and as they beat France, obviously. He's going to be available on a free. So I thought that's just that just makes so much sense.
Yeah,
such
no
a
risk.
Sensible deal. So go pick him up on a free, relatively low wages as well. I just think you get a really good player there for very cheap. So another real good bit of business. So overall, I think you could bring in Blin and Skiheri, maybe even Casse, all three. Don't know if you've got any other suggestions for that defensive midfield role.
Not off the top of my head.
No, fair enough. I think you could look at the Championship. Maybe Timo Rugbanum as a loan. If Villa are looking to loan him to the Premier League, could be a good option in there.
Means could you pry Leander Dendoncker away?
Potentially. I don't know. If he wasn't happy playing for, bit part player bit part for Wolves. Now, obviously, he'd be in the Conference League.
What they need is a Premier League proven player.
Yeah, but they're hard to come by, and this is why a lot of the targets I've written down are players that haven't played in the Premier League before. Because ultimately, Bournemouth don't have that pull.
No, they don't.
To get other Premier League players, but they have the pull of the Premier League to get players from abroad. And I think that's going to be evident in the wingers that I've suggested. Now, these two have both been linked with Bournemouth. Yeah. The first of which, Justin Kluivert at Roma.
What a pick that used to be.
Yeah, so around £15 million. He's not played an awful lot of football, Justin Kluivert. I think he was on loan at Nice. I mean, for Roma, obviously, he's been out on loan and stuff. But he's not really, as he's been at Valencia this season, so Nice the season before, 29 appearances for Valencia, 26 of those in the league, 6 goals. It's not stunning, but he's a good player. Clearly a good player in there.
Kluivert name is pretty special.
Yeah, maybe you just sign him for the name, but he's not really done. He hasn't played much for Roma. He made 68 appearances a couple of years back.
It's a gamble.
It is. But he's only 24.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Room to grow.
He's been everywhere, but he's only 24.
Can cover both wings.
Yeah.
I think he's a good option. I think he's more dependable than some of the gambles I've listed.
Yeah.
And then another winger who Bournemouth are interested in is Romain Favre, who is out on loan at Lorient this season from Lyon. He's put 19 contributions in 17 starts.
He's good.
For Lorient this season. He's had some great campaigns in the years before that. 15 contributions the year. The season before last. 11 the season before that. Clearly, a winger that can contribute a lot.
My only question would be is how much would they have to fork out for him?
Well, I think it'd be cheaper than... I'd say around that 9-10 mil mark.
Wow.
Leon don't want him, clearly. That's why he's out on loan. He's 24. I just think he scored a brace in the last 10 of the season.
No clauses linked with Lorient.
I don't know. I don't know if Lorient would have the money to be able to get him permanently.
But what a signing that would be.
Yeah,
I think he's
I saw him linked. Kluivert so they're both on Transfermarkt. Kluivert was ranked at about an 85% chance of happening. Favre a lot lower, about 60%. But
still pretty high.
Both, definitely could happen. I think they'd both be good options. A combined £24 million on wingers is a lot, but I think if you can sell Jadon Anthony, if you can sell some of their other wingers we mentioned, then maybe you can justify that cost. Especially with a striker that I think you can bring in for free. Rotation option. Also looking at Lyon, because we're looking at Moussa Dembele. Contract expiring.
Do you know what, that is so Bournemouth.
Exactly. This is what
I can see.
I think I've smashed this with recruitment. I'm going to be honest. Some's just thrown out on other episodes weren't great, but I think this one I've really nailed down the profile of what players.
It would be similar, like when Palace went and got Edouard. When Palace went and got
they forked out money for both of those.
Yeah.
This would be a free transfer for a player that's had a lot of minutes in the French league over the last few seasons. I believe he's been out on loan this year though.
A very big physical striker who isn't probably proven, but we all know has the quality to play
decently agile, 26 years old. He has been...
quite young as well.
He's been at Lyon this season then, only 23 appearances, only 8 starts, but 3 goals, to be fair to him.
I mean, he was doing brilliantly until Lacazette came in and took his spot.
Yeah, he was doing alright, and then the season before... Yeah, so looking at last season, 21 goals, from 25 starts.
He's been absolutely robbed because they brought in Lacazette. Don't get me wrong, Lacazette's been brilliant.
But he's played a bit part role. Yeah. Now's the chance to pounce. Yeah. You can get him for free.
I think he wasn't very proven. He has played in the Premier League before, hasn't he?
Yeah, he played for Fulham.
Yeah.
Back in 2013-2016, I think they were in the Prem at that time. And then obviously to Celtic, where he was really good. And I think for Lyon, he's proven himself in the last few years.
Yeah.
For me, it's very sensible.
This is his second chance at the best league in the world.
Yeah, and he's not. It's not like he's a star. You've got Kiefer Moore who can play there, but you've also got Don Solanke who will start. So it's a relatively low risk deal for a player that can come in and make a real impact. They could even play them in a 2. Because at times they played a 3-4-3. They could look at a 3-5-2 for next season.
Maybe, yeah.
Which also fits with Neto Borges because he's played at left wing back this year.
Yeah.
So lots of options that these players could work in. And obviously if you bring in Blin and Skahiri, then you could play Skahiri, Blin and Cook, minimum 3, or Billing in there.
Yeah, that'd be
so
good.
That creates a nice midfield. There's a lot of options you can do with this squad. And obviously they know they've got centre-half options with Kelly, Senesi and Metham, or Stevens. Who starts? Zabani.
Yeah, that's one.
Completely blanked on it, but you get a really good option. So there's a lot that Dwarf can do with this squad. I think with the players that we've included, who, by the way, a total of 33 million for all the names I've mentioned.
Wow, that'd be brilliant.
And I think you just build yourself there a squad that can challenge a little higher maybe in the Premier League. You could possibly get around that 12th, 13th place, especially if the promotion sides don't do a lot. I think Burnley will be all right. I think Sheffield United will struggle. I think Luton will definitely be in the relegation fight, hopefully avoiding it. But it's going to be tight down at the bottom next season, so I think it's crucial they get these transfers that can just separate them and the rest. And I think if they could sign all of these players, they sign Borges, Blin, Skahiri, Cassidy, Kluivert, Favre and Dembele, 7 transfers, £33 million spent. It would be big for the wage bill, but if you can shift a lot of the deadwood they've got at the moment as well, I think you definitely make that work.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Should we end off on our predictions?
Yes.
We'll start first with looking at the squad as a whole now, before they make any signings. Where would you see them next year?
I think they would find themselves in a bit of bother. It'll be touch and go whether they.
I would be surprised if they finished if they stayed up. I think 18th place. I don't think they could be bottom of the league because I think there's teams that are worse than them. But they would definitely struggle to stay in the Premier League. If they can make some signings though, I could easily see them replicating a 14th place finish, maybe even a 13th place finish.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, top 10 is probably off the cards because the quality is so strong.
And they've not really got the money yet, but they can start putting the building blocks in place to develop over the next few years.
If you can, announce yourself next season as best of the rest, or best of the bottom 10, that's a very good statement.
Yeah. I think they surprised a lot by staying up last season. They're going to want to push on. They ended up finished 15th. So even a 15th place finish again, staying comfortably above the relegation zone for a lot of the season, I don't think they'd be too mad about that.
No, not at all.
But they were fortunate because 39 points is not above that 40 threshold. I know in recent years 40 points has not really been the threshold. It's more been 38, 37.
But they've still been on. They stay still, they'll find themselves in trouble.
Exactly. They've got to progress. But they can't go any higher than they currently are based on alphabetical order because the AFC puts them top. We've done them third because Bournemouth B in it. But Bournemouth, I think they could have a good season. I think the players that we've included could be great options for them.
Yeah.
But that's all for today. If you've got any suggestions for who you think Bournemouth should sign, get them in the comments below. If you've got any thoughts on who I've suggested or any notes on what we've said in this video, then please do include them as well. And also a prediction of where you think Bournemouth will finish would go nicely with all that you've just commented. But thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed and you're new around here, make sure to subscribe and of course leave a like on the video. It massively helps us out. If you're listening on Spotify, then head on over to the Football Chat on YouTube to check out our content. Of course, we do live streams on here and other content that doesn't go out on Spotify. So head on over to the YouTube and you can watch us rather than just listen. But and obviously vice versa. If you want to listen, head on over to Spotify and you can listen to us where you go out for your morning run. That's all for us today. Thank you very much for watching and we'll see you next time.
See ya.